Welcome to today's show. I'm Anais.
I'm Sebastian.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the Student Survival Guide.
How many directives are on the banana issue was on the... You have the nurse. Have you looked at the banana bread?
Coronavirus! Coronavirus! And I don't feel like smiling.
We were on a break! Dare you?
Welcome back to the Student Survival Guide, guys. On today's show, we will be talking about Hollywood recasts and body image in the music industry. Stay with us till the end of today's show, where we'll be talking about a very important cause. And finally, before we begin, during our tech rehearsals, we had a handful of connection issues, so please bear with us. But for now, guys, how are we doing? How is everyone? What we thinking about this film recasts?
All good, all good.
Oh my god. What are you guys' favourite remakes movie?
That's a good question. Like, I mean, there are just so many to choose from, but the one that stands out to me the most, I'd have to say, is probably Batman. But then again, sort of, there've obviously been loads of different actors who've played the role as Batman. But to me, and I'm sure most people will agree, there can only be one Batman, and that is Christian Bale, the one and only.
Yes.
For sure.
What would you say is your favourite Andrew Batman movie?
I would have to say The Dark Knight, which was directed by Christopher Nolan. I think, and obviously Christian Bale stars in that. I think I'm guessing everyone here has watched that.
Obviously.
Of course.
Probably the only one I've seen, so.
Well, I mean, I think it was probably one of the best remakes that has. Well, I think that's what brought DC back as well, because obviously everyone. Yeah, I think so, because everyone was obviously on the Marvel hype, and then as soon as like The Dark Knight released, everyone was literally in love with that movie, because obviously Batman, Christian Bale in that, and obviously the Joker was played by Heath Ledger, and everyone loved his role as well.
What's your opinion on Robert Pattinson? Because he's meant to be the next one, isn't it? I have views, but let me hear what you've got to say first.
Yeah, guys.
I'll let someone else talk, because I think someone's going to give the positive first. I'll give the negative after.
Listen, I'll just say he's fit, isn't he? Right, and I'm not talking just because he's like Edward Cullen. I genuinely believe just because he's going to bring like a new vibe to it, because he's not working out the same way as everyone else. He's not doing the same regime. I mean, I get why he's got the role, because he's like almost like a monotone actor kind of thing. He's like, some people describe him as quite dull, but I feel like it's going to bring in the ladies, and it's going to get a bigger crowd, because it's Edward Cullen, isn't it? It's Edward Cullen.
I'm sure he's got plenty of ladies. Like, sort of, it doesn't.
Not enough.
It doesn't matter regarding on the role. Like, he's got them no matter what. But I mean, obviously, Robert Pattinson's a very talented actor. He's done like many big parts in the past, but because I read that he's apparently refusing to like get in shape for the role.
Yeah,
which I just don't really agree with, because in my eyes, especially growing up, like watching all these superhero movies, like a superhero is someone supposed to be like big, strong, built, like look the part.
Exactly. Unless
like sort of, I don't know, for like sort of the occasional superhero who's like more like sort of the brainy guy. But
I mean,
why?
But
sorry, I was gonna say, isn't Batman like whole story about how he spent his entire life preparing for it? So,
exactly.
Training.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do understand the idea of like remaking the industry a little bit and the expectations, but it's part of Batman, right?
No, not necessarily. Like you can be like huge and like strong, or I don't know. There are skinny people out there that are like not muscly.
Strong, no, of course.
But then wouldn't that just like undertale the whole Batman arc itself then? If he's like a trained, well-built character, and then if obviously Robert Pattinson is not going to get in shape and fulfill that role, isn't that just going to make Batman go like degraded?
No, that's the beauty of it. Look at him in Edward Cullen. Yeah, he wasn't like drinking blood every 5 seconds. He wasn't a typical vampire, you know. Like He was just like he was like the skinniest one out of all of them, and yet he had the most strength or something, or like the most power. Like
Yeah, but he's a vampire, so it's different. Like, he has like sort of supernatural powers.
Yeah,
but,
that's it.
but-
Isn't Batman the only? I don't know much, but isn't Batman the only superhero without like supernatural powers or something like that?
In DC, are you saying, or are you saying the whole universe, DC and Marvel?
I'm not
or-
entirely. I couldn't answer that honestly.
If it's just
I'm sorry.
DC, then I think he is, to be honest, because I know everyone else does. Superman, Aquaman, everyone else does, but I'm not sure if there is anyone. I mean, Batman to an extent, he does. He's obviously the rich one in that arc, and he obviously has the money to like buy all the weapons and like gears,
Yeah.
and that's what just makes him
Fair,
stronger.
yeah.
But
Okay.
go on, Chloe.
Well, saying that, I was just thought of Spiderman. He's like, you know, there's like three. No, I'm going to say three.
Four.
Oh, right now there's four. I didn't realize. I didn't realize it was the cartoon version of Spider-Man.
No.
Come on,
Right,
Spidey.
okay, well,
Oh, come on. Okay.
saying that, like the human version. Let's go with okay.
Yeah.
There's been multiple stages, different stories. Personally, I am in love with Andrew Garfield, the second one.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I
gotta go
Why?
with Toby.
No.
Why?
Tom Holland.
Toby.
Oh, yeah,
Tom Holland.
No,
Why?
Toby Maguire. Toby
No.
Toby
Maguire.
Maguire. No.
But they've all got
OG,
different body
the
shapes as well.
OG
They've got-
Spider-Man.
OG. Do you think? But they're all different. They all bring something different to it through their body shape.
I mean,
No, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
the amount-
body shape-wise, I'd say, like, sort of, they're all relatively similar. Like, so
Yeah.
they're all, like, skinny guys, because he's what's supposed to be, like, in high school, just gotten out of high school. So, yeah, like, he's obviously, like, a skinny teen. But, yeah, he obviously got bitten by a spider, so he's able to bust out some crazy spider webs and just, like, parkour from building to building. But, I mean, like, he's not, like, a strong superhero, I'd say. But I mean, everyone has like sort of their own sort of actor or superhero who sort of they considers the best one from the time or era they were growing up in.
Team Toby.
It just shows that all of us like are saying we prepare a different Spider-Man. But just going back to earliest point, sorry, about Batman. Sort of for some of these superheroes, because all of us agreed with Christian Bale being the number one Batman. Sort of sorry if I go off topic a bit, but in football, sort of in some clubs, like if the player played for the club all of their career and they retired there. So for example, Paolo Maldini, he retired a while back, but he played all of his career for Milan and Italy. Milan decided when he retired to retire number 3, the number he wore for like forever, so no one else would wear that number. And yeah, I think sort of with sort of really good superheroes, they should do that for films. Like sort of, for example, Batman. They shouldn't make another Batman for 50 years, 100 years, whatever.
So would you say that with Iron Man then? Because he's in the Black Widow movie. Oh, spoilers! He's gonna be in the Black Widow movie.
Iron Man, my guy, bless him.
Exactly. So would you say to for him to retire? Because some do get like, let's say they do decide to retire any heroes, wouldn't that just mean everyone would still like want them as well? Because if Iron Man were to retire, Robert Downey Jr. is what bought Marvel like as a whole. So if you retire like legends such as that, because think about it, in Endgame, I'm guessing everyone's watched it, so there's no spoilers. In Endgame, Iron Man died, and look at all the like. Literally, everyone was like in tears during that. Because I remember, when I watched it in the cinema, I was in tears. I can't lie.
Andrew, thank you. I haven't watched it. You've just ruined it for me. So
Come on, Seb, it's been a year.
No words.
Like, do you think?
Come on.
I think people should. I think people should like keep remaking films too. Because
Yeah.
if someone dies and they find another way to bring that character back or extend his storyline as such, it keeps people going. You know, that's what.
No, I don't think they should extend
but
it.
like it just dies down after a while. Like, I mean, the plot, the story, I just think it gets like so unrealistic, or like it's just like lost like its original cause. Like sort of another film that I think they really should have stopped making a long time ago is Fast and Furious. Like after the 5th, 6th one, like they should have stopped, because it's honestly just pointless. Like obviously they have a big budget and anything, and like the return they'll get from box office is big, but like it's just it's just not like a film. Like sort of in my eyes, it's just like sort of
Too many remakes.
they're just ruining it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
With Spiderman, I think there was too many personally.
Yeah, that's
think-
another one exactly.
Mm.
Too many good-looking people, that's for sure. No, how can you compare like Fast and Furious, like, which it's not real, it's not, but it's almost real compared to like Marvel and DC. You're never going to see Spider-Man flying through the friggin' streets, are you? But you might see someone like going rapid down the streets. So
one crashing into another car.
Yeah, so if people literally, if people make them films, do you not think, I don't know, it teaches some people about reality almost? Don't know.
I wouldn't really say reality because like sort of all of these films are like very I wouldn't say they're anywhere near realistic. They're very like exaggerated with all their stunts. So I mean, you'd have to look at different films, like obviously like real life based or like dramas, for example. Like these are not like the right films, I feel like, sort of to be comparing to reality, because it's just it will just never happen. Like sort of what was it one like in the 5th Fast and Furious where like sort of the cars like jumping off from like one bridge onto another, like on the motorway or whatever it was, like just something ridiculous like that. It's just you'll never see, like the guy will be dead, like. But
guys, to move on a little bit from that conversation, have you seen the recent short film Billie Eilish released about body image?
Oh yeah.
What did you think of it?
I mean, she pretty much hit.
Yeah.
What's the term that hit the nail on the head or something? Yeah, but she pretty much did. She basically said like when you show skin, you're a whore. If you dress up or like wear boyish clothes, you're like fat shamed. So you can never please people. And
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's all about like the fact that everyone's never going to be happy about whatever you do or whatever you wear, and also the importance like her celebrity has on that and the way she takes those comments. And she ended up by saying, actually, it's not my responsibility, which is, I think, important to remind, like, celebrities are people just like us, and they shouldn't have to take all that on their shoulders. You guys didn't watch it, right?
No, can you fill me in about what happened?
Right, no, basically she was saying that whether she wears like baggy clothes like she's known for, or she wears tight clothes, or she does this or that, everyone's going to have to say something negative about it. And in the end, she was, I think that there's a part of it that also says that she used to take these comments quite at heart, and now she's realized, well, it's not her responsibility and it's just people's opinion. So I think we're in a like moment where like social media is just allowing everyone to share every opinion that they have, and for celebrities it's very hard on their body image. Like,
but I mean, that's just the way the world is like nowadays, and it's been like this for a long time. Obviously, like for celebrities more because they're always in the public eye, but sort of that's just the sort of the world they're getting themselves into. And like, I mean, if you're obviously a singer, actor, whatever, you just know, like, so if you have success, that's how your life's gonna be. But sort of obviously, like, no one wants to be judged the whole time. But I mean, subconsciously, it's what like everyone does, even though we shouldn't. Like, I'm always telling myself never judge a book by its cover. But yet again, like, whatever it is, food, people, anything, like, sort of, you're always just judging it, and like, sort of, depending on like sort of what your brain processes, like sort of that's how you'll interact with it. But sort of, yeah, like long story short, you should just stop judging books by their cover, because
I agree.
it's just ruining loads of people mental stability as well, just making them very insecure as well.
Do you think that celebrities have a responsibility to take though, because they are public characters? So do you think that whatever they do, they always have to be careful about the fact that they have a massive audience following them?
Exactly, because the thing is with obviously for people such as Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, any singers, or even just like TV show hosts or whatever, they have a massive fan base, a massive one across the world, not just America, across any literary nations. And I think what they do has an effect on their fans as well. So whatever they do, we do as well. to an extent.
Yeah.
Not everything, but to an extent. So what they should, I think, some should consider of what they do, and obviously, and they actually get a lot of hate as well. The thing is, because what we perceive to them to be, even though they don't act that way, what we want is what we want them to be, if that makes sense, or what we think in our heads. That's what we want them to be like. Not, and we don't give them their
Yeah.
space. It's just like a mentality of us. Like, I don't know. It's just like we think what we want is what they're gonna have, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. And I think as well, like, as well as idolizing him too much, I think maybe could you argue that possibly celebrities like expect too much from us? So the other day I was watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because it's great. It's great. It is great TV.
Okay.
And basically Kim Kardashian was
trash TV.
No,
I mean,
she's not. This is why though. This made me really think about something. She posed naked in front of 3 camera people. She was on a photo shoot. She posed naked, and during the photo shoot, she said, "Oh, I'm glad the paparazzi aren't here," even though them pictures were going to be put in a magazine. Like, does that? So we're self-conscious of what others are going to think, but we want our images out there. Like, how does that make any sense? You know?
It's just publicity then.
No, the other thing is like sort of with celebrities, like sort of the one that comes most to mind, like Nicki Minaj. Like, obviously, everyone's free to do like whatever they please to do, dress how they want, whatever. It's a free world at the end of the day. But I mean, with loads of like young girls following her and looking up to her as like their idol, Nicki Minaj, like, obviously being someone who's had like breast implants, like arse implants. She doesn't have like a natural body. It's just going to influence loads of young girls being like, oh, I want to have big tits, like I want to have a big ass, like that. It's just going to like push more and more like sort of these young girls sort of like being really unhappy with the body that they have, and they're like, fuck, like I need to get a boob job because that's the only way I'll be happy. But then I mean, it's sort of like there are some cultures and countries where it's like, I mean, it's normal because in South Korea apparently plastic surgery is really normal. But
I mean, I feel like with plastic surgery, the thing is like everyone's free to do whatever they want, and if it makes them feel better individually, like they should go for it. But it should be said out loud if plastic surgery has been done. I mean, not to force anyone, obviously, to out themselves, but I mean, if you have young people who are influenceable and see their idols looking a certain way that has been achieved through plastic surgery, they're going to believe it's like natural, and they're going to feel bad about themselves because they don't look anything like it. So if we were just more open and honest about those kind of things, I think it would already like be lighter on everyone's shoulders. Does that make sense? But
yeah, for sure. Like, but where do we draw the line? You know, kind of thing. Like, if people are putting themselves out there, like, by all means, live your best life, earn the money you're entitled to. But where do we draw the line where we're not allowed to judge people, where it's going too far? You know, whether it's male or female.
We've also had a comment about like, is there for you? Do you think? Do you see a double standard for women and men in the industry about body image and expectations of all?
Yeah, obviously, like I mean, males will get away with much more if they dress provocatively or sort of they decide to go out with like outer top or whatever one day. Like obviously the news, like sort of the media will be like, oh, like sort of he's looking jacked or whatever, sort of like complimenting his sort of physique or whatever. But like sort of when a girl does that, like sort of dresses half naked, sort of the media will be like, oh, like slut, whatever, like sort of start insulting her and shaming her, sort of. Yeah,
it's just something that's just come down from previous generations. That's all it is. Like, some think that it's like changed and it's a better place for women, but it's really not, to an extent, because they're still being ashamed for their bodies. And if they don't have like, you know, a typical sexy body, they're just being ashamed. And if men don't have like a masculine body, it's the same for men. If they don't have a masculine body, they're still thought of like as a different person as well, to be honest.
Which links it back to the beginning, isn't it? Where you guys think Batman should be hench, but I think Whatever suits. Patterson.
I mean, to me, the whole Batman situation made more sense, like regarding the actual story of Batman, because he did spend. Tell me if I'm wrong, but he did spend years training, so that must like bring some sort of shape, right?
Exactly.
But it's not like, because he's an actor and it's like a character you have to embody. So I guess there's a bit of a difference. I'm not saying that he should train and, like you have actors who have done like very, very drastic diets, and I don't think that's healthy. So they shouldn't go through anything unhealthy. But it's different to fit into a character because you're an actor and to fit the like physical requirements than to be an artist that's doing music. That's something completely different. So we shouldn't even care about the way they look.
But that's something I feel for like some actors, it will sort of end up they choose to take a specific role and have to look a specific part, because sort of that's like what will win them an Oscar essentially. Like sort of, what was it, Matthew McConaughey, like sort of when he took up the role for Texas Buyers Club and like lost a shit ton of weight and like was anorexic, and he won like an Oscar for that, if I wasn't mistaken. Or going back to Christian Bale for Batman, when he did like The Dark Knight Rises or whichever one it was, sort of he got really big. But the movie, the role he had before that, it was The Mechanic or something along those lines. But sort of for that role, he was the opposite of what he looked like for Batman. He was skinny, and sort of people on the crew were like genuinely worried about his health because he was very, very underweight. But I mean, that's just, in my eyes, a very talented actor or actress who can sort of transition body weights, body types that easily and sort of still stay mentally sane. Because then another role Christian Bale did was for Vice, when he played the American politician, and he gained sort of a shit ton of weight, but like not as in muscle, like sort of fat, like sort of had a big gut belly. So I respect that a lot.
There's still a lot to do. I feel like there's still a lot to do in the industry, and it's moving towards, I can say, like better for everyone, but it's still very much.
But anyways, guys, I think we should move on to a more serious note, actually. And we feel it's only right to talk about this, what came out of America over the past few weeks, and that being the death of George Floyd, who was a black man murdered by a white police officer, and as his fellow officers watched on and did nothing to prevent the brutal murder of an unarmed black man.
In the following days and weeks, people from all walks of life have fiercely protested, donated and petitioned for change. All the white politicians have threatened and enforced military-style policing against rightful protests.
We cannot stay silent. This is a wake-up call, not only for America, but also here in the UK. Institutionalized racism is everywhere. We must change. Black lives do matter.
It's for that reason that we use this admittedly small platform to inform you of what we can all do right now to help. So first of all, you can go to blacklivesmatters.car.co to find the most up-to-date petitions, funds, resources, and also educational materials. And
secondly, you can sign the petition Justice for George Floyd at change.org/Justice for George Floyd to call on the authorities to charge all 4 officers that were involved.
If you can donate, please do so. You can donate to the George Floyd Memorial Fund to help support the Floyd family, lay the foundations for their future, to pay for the travel and lodging for court proceedings as they seek justice they deserve. You can go to gofundme.com/George Floyd. You would also find other methods of supporting the family on the site.
And finally, you can donate to the Act Blue National Split Bail Fund at actblue.com/donate/bail_funds_George_Floyd to help the protesters and split a donation to all the bail funds, mutual aid funds, and activist organizations.
Protests are being held in every state across America. They're being held literally in Hyde Park across the weekend, and they're only growing. All these links will be in the descriptions below, and the Student Survival Guide stand with you.